In the old cemetery, scary story, one boy moved with his mom and dad to a new town. The neighbors immediately warned them. Don't go to the old cemetery, people sometimes go missing there. But the boy had not yet had time to make friends with anyone in the yard, so he went to see the old cemetery. I'll just look from afar, he thought. From afar the cemetery was very ordinary, there was nothing scary about it. The boy sighed disappointedly and was about to go home when suddenly he noticed children playing. The children, a boy and a girl, were building a headquarters. They had dug a big hole, covered it with planks, leaving a small hole to climb in, and now filled the ground over the planks so that no one would see the headquarters. The children were engrossed in the game and did not notice the boy, who was closely watching the construction. But then the girl turned back and saw that they were being watched. She waved her hand for the boy to come closer. The boy came closer. Who are you? We haven't seen you around here before, she asked. I'm new here, the boy said. I came from out of town. What is your name? The girl asked. Ilya, said the boy, and you? Agnes, said the girl, and waved her hand at her friend, and his is Artis, he's my brother. Would you like to build an underground bunker with us? Artis asked, turning around. He stretched the S strangely. And Ilya also saw that his eyes were an unusual yellow color. But otherwise Artis was no different from the other boys. I want to, said Ilya, and began to help them. When they had finished the bunker, Agnes said, when the grass grows here, you won't be able to see the bunker at all. Artis nodded, wanting to say something, but suddenly stopped, his head cocked as if he were listening to something. We must be going, he said after a while, Mother's calling for lunch. Will you come again? Ilya asked. Come with us, Agnes suddenly suggested, we'll eat and then come back here together. Can we? Ilya was delighted. Artis shrugged his shoulders, but Agnes grabbed Ilya by the arm and dragged him along. Come on, don't be afraid, it's very close. And they went in the direction of the cemetery. Do you live behind the cemetery? Ilya asked. Yes, said Agnes. Aren't you afraid to walk here? For some reason Ilya became afraid. No, said Artis, it's so old, there hasn't been anyone here for a long time. The cemetery really wasn't scary at all. The graves were overgrown with grass, and small lizards were basking on the wooden crosses. Artis grabbed one and put it on his hand, showing it to Ilya. Why, there are lots of them, he said, but they don't bite. Agnes and Artis's mother was not surprised to see Ilya with them. We've got Gosti, she said, and put a third plate on the table. She too had yellow eyes like Ardis, and she also stretched the S unusually. She was very pretty and moved smoothly, as if there was water, not air, around her. She looks like a lizard, only very big and very beautiful, Ilya thought for some reason. Then they ate something delicious, but what it was, Ilya could not understand. And after eating, he suddenly had a strong desire to sleep. And he must have fallen asleep right at the table, because he suddenly saw that his new friend's mother had a tail. Of course, Ilya guessed, she's a lizard, after all. And he also saw that Artis had a tail too. I guess Agnes has a tail too, Ilya thought. And right through the dream, Ilya fell asleep again and dreamed of the distant times when lizard people lived everywhere. But people monkeys came and started to kill people lizards. Because they were very afraid of them. And they killed almost all of them. Ilya woke up, but he was in another dream. And he dreamed that someone else appeared inside him, very similar, and not at all like Ilya. This unknown person looked with yellow eyes and had a tail like a lizard's. And it was feeding on Ilya, eating him from the inside out. I'm just a cocoon, Ilya realized, for the lizard man. It will eat me and then get out. Ilya wanted to wake up, but he couldn't. All he could do now was dream. And he would have no other dreams. Queen of the Ants, Bogeyman, one boy was always torturing and killing ants. He would tear off their legs and burn them with burning matches. He would throw ants into spider webs and watch them try in vain to get out. He might flood an anthill with water, or catch ants from one anthill and drop them near another to make a massacre. He would collect ants in a jar, and then pour hot boiling water into the jar at home. The boy's parents did not know about this, or he would have been punished. One day the boy was walking on the street, and was thinking of what else he could do with ants. A woman came up to him, wrapped in a long gray cloak, even though it was warm outside. She handed the boy a stone. It looked like an ordinary stone. "What is it?" the boy asked warily. He knew that grown-ups did not give anything for nothing. "It is an egg. The queen of all ants sleeps in it. The queen of all ants sleeps in it. You can tell her what to do, and she will tell the ants what to do." The woman put the stone in the boy's hands, turned and began to walk away. "Hey," called out the boy, but the woman disappeared as if she had fallen through the earth. The boy brought the stone home and ordered, "I want the ants to come here." He waited a little while, but nothing happened. Deceived, thought the boy disappointedly, and threw the stone away, and went to play outside. But when he returned, he saw a whole army of ants waiting for him on the table. They lined up in rows like soldiers and waited. The boy rejoiced and ordered the ants to fight until they killed each other. The next day he brought the stone with him to school. And in the middle of the lesson, the teacher ran out of the classroom screaming she was attacked by ants. Then the boy got the ants to attack a wasp nest he saw under the roof of a shed near the house. The wasps killed the ants easily, but the ants were much more numerous, and in the end they won. The boy began to think of who else he could set the ants on. He noticed that the egg of the queen of the ants was getting bigger, but he didn't pay attention to it. Soon it no longer fit in his pocket, and the boy hid it in the closet. But then it stopped fitting in the closet too. Then the boy moved the egg under the bed. If the ants had been big, the boy could have made a real army of them, but the ants were too small after all, and couldn't handle even the neighbor's cat. Disappointed with the ants, the boy made a big fire, and made all the ants that were around go straight into the fire. So he burned a lot of ants. The next night the boy woke up to hear an egg under his bed crackling, as if someone had moved inside. When the boy looked under the bed, he was frightened to see how big the egg of the queen of the ants had become. "We have to kill it before it grows any bigger," the boy decided. He brought a big knife from the kitchen and stabbed the egg with it. But the knife did not penetrate the shell of the egg. Then the boy brought a hammer and started hitting the egg with it. The egg held, but it cracked. And suddenly the boy heard laughter. When he looked up, he saw a woman sitting at the window. The same woman who had given him the egg. Only her cloak was not a cloak at all, it was big wings. And the woman had antennae on her head, like ants. The boy was scared, but he didn't show it. "Take back your egg," he said to the woman. "I don't need your ant queen anymore. If you don't, I'll kill her." The woman laughed again. "Fool, the queen of ants is me, and in the egg is your death. You fed her yourself." The boy looked at the egg again. And he saw that it was almost cracked open, and huge ant paws were sticking out of the inside. And then the shell burst and a huge ant grabbed the boy with its chews and lifted him up. "Now we will see how you will crawl if we tear off all your paws," said the queen of ants, "and to make you crawl faster, we will burn you with a burning stick." And the boy screamed. In the morning, Mom and Dad found the boy dead. His arms and legs had been torn off, as if someone had chewed them off, and his face and hair were badly burned. The police found a lot of footprints in the room, but they couldn't figure out who it was. And the next night children began to die in the city.